It started as a spontaneous road trip, the kind of adventure that felt like a rite of passage. 5 friends, Lena, Arjun, Zara, Malik, and June, packed into a dusty van and took off toward the countryside, their only goal to escape the monotony of city life. Laughter echoed as they drove for hours, trading stories and singing off-key to old songs. Then Lena brought up the mansion, an old estate buried in the woods that she'd read about online. It was supposed to be abandoned, but rumors swirled of strange occurrences and disappearances. Intrigued by the mystery, the group made a detour. What they didn't know was that the moment they stepped foot into the mansion's overgrown garden, they crossed an invisible threshold. Time itself was watching and waiting. As they crossed the broken threshold of the rotting front doors, they had no idea this visit would trap them in a nightmare with no clear end. The mansion was a hulking silhouette against the darkening sky, its windows like empty eyes. Ivy clung to the stone walls, and the wrought iron gates groaned as the friends pushed through. The air was unnaturally still. Even the birds seemed to avoid the place. Inside, the dust was thick, and the air had a heavy, musty scent. Old portraits lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow them. Lena took photos while Malik examined the intricate, decaying furniture. Zara was drawn to a peculiar grandfather clock that had stopped at 4:07. It was then that June noticed the scorch marks on the floor in the study, shaped in a perfect circle. "God," she whispered, "I think something happened here." Arjun found a library full of strange books, physics texts, time theory, and handwritten journals in a language no one recognized. As night fell, a low hum began to vibrate through the mansion. The clock struck 4:07 again, though no one had touched it. The next morning, they woke up in the van, parked outside the mansion. At first, they thought it was just weird deja vu, but then Lena spilled the same coffee, Zara told the same joke, and June tripped over the same route while heading to the gate. Every moment played out identically. They explored the house again. Same rooms, same creepy humming, same scorch marks. They tried leaving only to find themselves waking up in the same spot the next day, again and again. At first, it was hilarious, like a bizarre real-life video game, but the laughter faded when Malik tried to drive away, only to crash into the same tree every time. "We're stuck," Arjun whispered on the 5th loop. "This place is doing something to us." June began writing down everything they saw, desperate to find a pattern, but the loop was relentless, always resetting at 4:07. At first, the changes were almost imperceptible, a picture slightly tilted, the clock ticking once before stopping again. But over time, the differences grew. On the 6th loop, Lena's phone, dead for days, suddenly buzzed, with a message reading, "Don't trust the mirror." On the 7th, Zara saw someone, or something, moving past the library door when no one was near. The house began to evolve with them. The humming grew louder. Shadows stretched too far across the floor. Malik swore the portraits were changing expression. They began testing the loop, burning books, smashing clocks, writing messages. None of it stayed. Everything reset except them. They started to wonder, was the mansion alive? Was it learning? Each day still ended at the same moment, 4:07, when the sun vanished unnaturally fast and the house shuddered like it was breathing. Every time they hoped for an escape, the mansion pulled them back in. During the 10th loop, Arjun stumbled across a locked room hidden behind a false panel in the library. Inside was a small laboratory, dusty but intact. Papers were scattered everywhere. The name Dr. Elias Voss was etched into several documents. According to the journals, Dr. Voss was obsessed with bending time. He believed time could be reshaped, rewritten, and repeated. One entry read, "The loop is the answer to mortality, but it must be calibrated to the mind. Too soon and it fractures." Another entry was a frantic scrawl. "They are here. I thought I could control the threshold. I was wrong." Photos showed strange symbols and machines powered by crystals that pulsed with light. Zara found a cracked mirror labeled "The Anchor." Lena, reading through the journal, gasped. "He created the loop. This whole house is the experiment, and worst of all, it wasn't finished." On the 12th loop, the haunting began. Doors slammed on their own. Whispers slithered through the hallways. June saw a figure at the end of a corridor. Tall, thin, faceless. Malik tried to confront it, but his flashlight died, and when the lights returned, he was covered in ash. Lena's photos began showing things that weren't there, ghostly figures hovering behind them. One night, the group saw themselves standing outside the mansion, watching. But when they tried to confront their doppelgangers, the image vanished. The house bled into their minds, turning dreams into nightmares. Zara began having visions of the scientist screaming into the mirror, his body unraveling. The loops quickened, sometimes skipping hours. Time twisted, pulling them into walls, where they glimpsed endless versions of themselves dying in different ways. The mansion had ceased to be just haunted. It was now a gate between realities. Malik broke first. He started mumbling equations and scratching symbols into the walls. He refused to sleep, saying the shadows would eat his memories. On On the 15th loop, he disappeared for hours. When they found him, he was in the lab, hooked up to one of Voss's machines. "I've seen the end," he whispered. "We've already died thousands of times." His eyes were hollow, his fingernails bloody from clawing at the floor. He attacked June, convinced she was a version of the house in disguise. They restrained him, but it was too late. His mind had snapped. He screamed whenever the loop reset, refusing to leave the van. "We were never meant to come here," he cried. "Time doesn't want us to leave. It wants us to stay forever." Watching Malik unravel shattered the illusion of hope. If they didn't escape soon, they knew the loop would consume them all. Zara and Arjun pored over Voss's remaining notes, which became more frantic and cryptic. They discovered that the loop wasn't meant to trap. It was meant to preserve. Voss had feared death, feared time's irreversibility. So he anchored a moment, a perfect moment, in hopes of living it endlessly. But the moment fractured. "Temporal contamination," he wrote. "The mind resists the loop. The soul rejects it. They begin to decay." Another page held diagrams of a machine built to monitor time flux, powered by the mirror in the lab. Lena realized the mirror wasn't just glass. It was a conduit. "This is how we're looping. It's the anchor point," she said. "If we break it, maybe we break the loop." But the final note warned, "If the loop is broken incorrectly, time may splinter. One must stay behind to seal the breach." The cost of escape was now terrifyingly clear. The mirror showed them glimpses of their past loops, choices made, moments missed. The puzzle wasn't physical, it was emotional, metaphysical. They had to accept their regrets. One by one, they entered the lab and faced the mirror. Lena saw herself ignoring a call from her dying mother. Zara saw the brother she abandoned. Arjun relived his fear of commitment. Only by accepting their truths did the mirror stabilize. The machine pulsed violently as Malik stood silently behind them. He had recovered just enough to understand. "I'll stay," he said, voice calm. "I belong here now." They protested, but he smiled. "Time already has me." The machine powered up, light filled the lab, and the mansion groaned as if in pain. The loop cracked, reality tearing open as Malik placed his hand on the mirror. Then everything went dark. Even after the loop was broken, the survivors, Lena, Zara, Arjun, and June, felt its echo. Sometimes Lena would wake up at 4:07, heart pounding. Zara heard Malik's voice in mirrors. Arjun kept sketching the mansion's floor plan without realizing. Time felt unstable. Clocks ticked wrong. Memories blended. They couldn't be sure if they were still looping or if this was just another version of the trap. Once, June opened a door in her apartment and saw the mansion hallway behind it. "We never left," she whispered one night. "We just moved sideways." The boundaries between timelines were thinner than before. The curse wasn't just about the loop. It was about what it awakened in them. Something beyond time was now watching. In the final moment, as light engulfed them and the machine groaned with temporal energy, they were pulled violently into a rift. When Lena opened her eyes, they were outside the mansion, the sun rising, the van exactly where it had been, but Malik was gone. His name faded from their photos. His voice echoed faintly in dreams. They visited the site again, but the mansion was now just ruins, collapsed, overgrown, forgotten. In an old newspaper article, they found a photo of Dr. Elias Voss with a team of assistants. One looked exactly like Malik. "He's part of the past now," Lena whispered. "He's the anchor." They lit a candle in his memory, placing it at the ruin's edge. As they walked away, the clock struck 4:07. Behind them, for just a second, the mansion stood tall again, watching. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like the video to break the loop. Comment below. What would you do if you were trapped in a time loop? Subscribe for more spine-tingling horror stories every week. Hit the bell icon so you never miss the next scare. Time waits for no one. Share this with a friend before time resets again.